The U.S. Democratic Party's National Convention has climaxed with President Barack Obama accepting the party's nomination as its candidate in the presidential election. After days of rallying speeches in Charlotte, North Carolina, Obama topped them all with a stirring address, acknowledging that the hope of 4 years ago had not been completely fulfilled, but that theme of hope was still there, along with a savage attack on the policies of his Republican opponent.
President of the United States of America, Barack Obama.
Win or lose, this campaign is the last time that Barack Obama will ask the American people for their trust. Democrats savored the moment, but he seemed impatient to address a troubled nation far beyond the convention hall.
Know this, America. Our problems can be solved. Our challenges can be met. The path we offer may be harder, but it leads to a better place, and I'm asking you to choose that future.
Republicans have framed this election as a referendum on the Obama economy, but he said voters faced a choice.
And on every issue, the choice you face won't just be between two candidates or two parties. It will be a choice between two different paths for America.
The U.S. president has made his case for why he deserves to hold on to title. Barack Obama has wrapped up the Democratic National Convention with an appeal to voters. He asked them to consider where the country will head after the election this November.
Just before Barack Obama spoke at the convention, it was the turn of his Vice President, Joe Biden.
With great honor and pleasure, I accept. Thank you. Thank you, my fellow Democrats.
It was him accepting his party's renomination to his job, and after giving the audience a glimpse of Obama's character and achievements, he switched gears. The attack dog persona came out as he lashed out at Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney.
Speaking of tough decisions, speaking of tough calls, last week we heard at the Republican convention, we heard our opponents. We heard them pledge that they too had the courage to make the tough calls. But folks, in case you didn't notice, and I say to my fellow Americans, in case you didn't notice, they didn't have the courage to tell you what calls they'd make. They never mentioned any of that. Mrs. Robinson, you watched from home, I guess, from the White House. You heard them talk so much about how they cared so much about Medicare, how much they wanted to preserve it. That's what they told you. Well, let's look at what they didn't tell you. What they didn't tell you is that the plan they have already put down on paper would immediately cut benefits from more than 30 million seniors already on Medicare. What they didn't tell you is the plan they're proposing would cause Medicare to go bankrupt by 2016. And what they really didn't tell you is if you want to know, they're not for preserving Medicare at all. They're for a new plan. It's called voucher care.
Locked in a close fight with Romney, Obama faces the challenge of recapturing the magic of his historic campaign of 4 years ago and generating enthusiasm among voters weary of economic hardship. His televised address was a chance to connect with millions of Americans.
Celebrities were also out in full force on the last day of the convention, with musical performances by Mary J. Blige, James Taylor, and the Foo Fighters. Actress Scarlett Johansson made an appeal for young people to register to vote. Perhaps the most emotional moment was the appearance of former Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. She was given a standing ovation as she led the Pledge of Allegiance. Giffords is still recovering from being shot in the head during a meet-and-greet event in her home state on January 8, 2011.